Local webcasting for a worldwide audience.
Good morning, this is Swazi and you're listening to Radio Lewes and this is Saturday Live. I'm going to be with you until 12. I'm going to be playing you some fantastic music on today, the bonus leap day. How good is that? We get an extra day this year. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday, because you only get to celebrate it once every 4 years, don't you? So happy birthday to all the all the leap year babies. I've got some fantastic music for you today. I've basically just gone through all of my playlists and just picked the best songs from all of my playlists, and I'm going to share them with you, and we're just going to rock out today. We're going to stay indoors, we're going to stay dry, we're going to stay warm, we're going to rock out together, and we're going to have a great Saturday. Brilliant, Pat Benatar and Hit Me With Your Best Shot, which I have to confess is one of those songs where it's one of those yelling along songs. A few of those today. I've picked some where you can just kind of leap around your kitchen or wherever it is you listen. Whether you're listening in your home office, your actual office, in your kitchen, in your bedroom, in your car, there are going to be songs where I'm going to be expecting you to leap along and yell with them, because that's what I'm going to be doing in the studio. Just need to kind of get it out of your system, don't you? When the weather's like this, when it's still in the depths of miserable winter, you kind of need it to be a bit cheery, don't you? So yeah, I'm going to be playing stuff like that. And how have you been? Did you have a good half term? I'll tell you all about mine. Mine was immense. As Nessa from Gavin Estates would say, it was immense. It was tidy. So yes, and apologies that I wasn't here last week. I had severe jet lag. I got back on the Thursday, got back late on Thursday evening, not that late actually, but it became later because I flew into Terminal 5, which is the back of Beyond, and then went to my mum's house where my kids were staying and just crashed out. And then on Friday, brought the kids back home, but then I had tickets to a gig, which I think I mentioned, had tickets to see Stuart Lee at the Brighton Dome. So I asked my friend Suze if she would drive us. And that was a great gig. Loved it. Then Saturday, I had all sorts of ideas about what I was going to do on Saturday. And then jet lag just hit me. And it was, as my friend SJ described it, coming back from the States is like being hit with a sledgehammer but covered in night nurse. The jet lag really was bad. So I did the things I needed to do. So I did like the second or third lot of washing because the kids had been away and I'd been away. So kind of did the second lot of washing, hung it up, went out and got food shopping because I needed food for the house because none of us had been there for a week. And then sat down on the sofa, basically got a massive fluffy blanket, sat down on the sofa, looked on Amazon Prime for things to watch, found a documentary about the Manic Street Preachers and just lay on the sofa for a couple of hours and just did that. And so my new thing now, I'll talk to you about this a bit more because I'm also recording a podcast after this show. My thing is that I'm taking better care of myself, which sounds a bit obvious, but I am sort of trying to do just one thing at a time rather than many things. So that was what I did. I thought, all right, I'll have a cup of tea and I'll watch a documentary and I'll just sit on the sofa. But cleaning be damned. I am in the process of looking for a cleaner, actually. I've been saying I'm going to do it for a year. I am going to get someone to help me clean my house because, frankly, it's not top of my list. Why would it be? But which is what makes this song even more appropriate because this is what my house is starting to feel like to me.
Baby, can't you see I'm calling? A guy like you should wear a warning. It's dangerous, I'm falling. There's no escape, I can't wait. I need a hit, baby, give me it. You're dangerous, I'm loving it. Till I can't come down. Losing my head, spinning round.
the wonderful Britney Spears and Toxic, which is, the video for that is, she's an air hostess, isn't she, on a plane, which gives me an excuse to talk about my travels. Yes, I know. It's all me, isn't it? It's all me. I told you I was going to be recording a podcast later. Yes, I'm going to be doing I'm trying to get one in every month. So I'm recording one with my lovely friend Rosie, which I hope to have online for you later today. Yeah, so I told you before I went away that I was going to be going somewhere. I didn't let on where because I didn't actually know because of the storms. So we had Storm Kira, which was the reason that we couldn't do the Dark Skies event. Then we had Storm Dennis, which was another, fun and games. And this weekend we've got Storm Jorge. Now, because of Storm Dennis, I wasn't entirely sure whether or not my flight was going to be running at all. I didn't know if it was going to be cancelled right up until the morning when I was flying, which was the Sunday after I was last here. So I didn't say anything because I didn't know whether or not I was even going to make it. But I spent half term in New York, which was amazing and incredible and fantastic and all the things that I didn't let myself think it was going to be. So I don't know if you saw, I shared a video on Instagram. So my social media feeds, just so that you know, Instagram, Swazzy Rogers, Twitter is also Swazzy Rogers, and Facebook is Swazzy Radio DJ. I try and remember to share a song on Swazzy Radio DJ every day. Don't always remember. Forgot to put a Throwback Thursday track on Thursday because I was so tired I went to bed. But yeah, so on Instagram I shared a video of me running in Central Park because that's something I've always wanted to do. So on the Monday, I arrived on Sunday afternoon, Sunday sort of after lunch, met up with my lovely friends Natasha and Luke, and went to the dive bar, as it's called, for buffalo wings and drinks. And then Monday morning went for a run in Central Park, as I say, which is something I've always wanted to do. And it was absolutely beautiful. The sun was out, it was gorgeous. It was predicted to be really cold, so I took layers just in case. But actually the sun came out and it was gorgeous. And in that short video clip, I talk about how I've set myself the aim of just saying yes and taking risks and being brave and doing things that I would normally say no to. Because actually, in the end, the effort you expend in saying, no, I don't want to do that is more. You end up sort of spending more effort sort of trying to get out of things than it would be to just do it. And I had the opportunity to go. My friends basically said, come and see us before we move back to the UK. I was able to get childcare and I was able to go out there. So it was brilliant, and spent a few days in the company of my great friends. Got to go and see some other friends who used to live in Croydon who have now moved back to the States, and they're absolutely gorgeous children. So even my kids also got to have a little bit of a chat with their old school mates. So I think I've fitted a lot into my 3 full days, but it was brilliant, and I feel so revived from having done that. Hadn't quite appreciated how much I really, really needed the break, how much I needed to just switch off, because sometimes I have so many things going on in my head. I have so many things to organise. The term for it is the mental load. The 101 things that you have to think about to make life function around you. And it's something that people talk, women talk about it a lot. The 101 decisions you have to make in order for the people around you to have what they need. Mum, where are my socks? Where's my breakfast? Is there any milk? All those, it's tiny, tiny little things that are on your mind all the time, and how you can't just concentrate on one thing at a time. So actually, just being away and only having to think about myself for a few days was really refreshing. And as I say, I hadn't appreciated how much I needed it. And I've come back feeling really good, which is great. I mean, even the weather hasn't dampened that. It is difficult because obviously you wake up and you look out the window and you see this awful weather and you think, oh dear. But yeah, and my morning ritual of listening to Nina Simone to get up is still working. I think when I came into the studio this morning, I just basically got my small round friend over here, whose name begins and ends with A, to play me Nina Simone, because there's no better way to get up, I think, in the morning than to listen to Nina Simone feeling good. I think that should be that should be an option on every alarm clock, to wake up to that track. Because can you imagine how much cheerier the world would be if everyone woke up to that track? I know I would be. Definitely. That would make my day. It does make my day. I listen to it in the morning. Now, sorry, I've told you about my love of Billie Eilish. What I may not have told you is about my love of Bond films. And I used to be the person who would get a ticket for a Bond film as soon as it came out. And over the last few years, I haven't been quite as devoted. But I am looking forward to seeing what happens with this next one. Each time they bring out a new Bond, they say, oh, it's going to be modern and updated, and he won't be as much of a womanizer, and he won't be as awful, and blah, blah, blah. Do you know what? He is what he is. Let's just accept that. But Billie Eilish has recorded the latest Bond theme. She's the youngest artist to ever do that. She's written and recorded it, and it's pretty good. I mean, I like a good Bond theme. In fact, I'm thinking one of my future shows, I'm just going to play all the Bond themes, and we'll do that. And if you don't like Bond themes, then you know to take the day off, really. But this is really excellent. No Time to Die.
I should have known I'd leave alone. Just goes to show that the blood you bleed is just the blood you own. We were a pair, but I saw you there. Too much to bear. You were my life, but life is far away from fair. Was I stupid to love you? Was I reckless to help? Was it obvious to everybody else that I've fallen for a lie? You were never on my side. Fool me once, fool me twice. Are you there, the paradise? Now you never see me cry. There's just no time to die. I let it burn. You're no longer my concern. Faces from my past return. Another lesson yet to learn that I'd fallen for a lie. You were never on my side. Fool me once, fool me twice. Are you there, the paradise? Now you never see me cry. There's just no time to die. No time to die. No time to Fool me once, fool me twice. Are you there, the paradise? Now you never see me cry. There's just no time to die.
It's got those proper little Bond flourishes, hasn't it? The little kind of twangy Bond bits in it that make it proper Bond. Yeah. I've loved some of the Bond themes. And I really like the Tina Turner one, Goldeneye. Absolutely adored Skyfall by Adele. And in the beginning, I didn't like the Madonna one, but it grew on me. After I'd seen the film, I did actually like the Madonna one. So yeah, I think I'm going to do. I don't know about next week. I'm going to see what's happening next week, because next week is March. So we'll see. It might be next week. It might be later. It's a bank holiday one though, isn't it? Really, because Bond films are always shown on bank holidays. So it might have to be the May bank holiday that we do that. And I've also had a request for someone to come in and do an interview, so I need to get back to them and find out if I can facilitate the weekend that they're talking about doing. I think I'm going to be here anyway. So yes, next weekend I am here with you, and also me and the boys are doing the Glow Memorial Walk. Thank you to the lovely people who've sponsored us already. We're halfway to our modest target. We've set ourselves a target of £100 to fundraise for Alzheimer's Society. The reason it's such a modest target is because we're also doing various other things. So me and my older son are also doing a swimathon for cancer research, which is going to be in March. So that's going to be a week where we have to swim a certain distance. I mean, he'll do it easily because he swims 4 times a week. He goes to squad twice a week. He goes to swim club and he has a swim lesson. So he'll easily do it. And I think, again, we've set something very modest for him to achieve, which will be very easy. He'll probably do it in a day. So we're doing the swimathon, and then we're also doing the Bluebell Walk, which is for St Christopher's Hospice, and that's in Kent. So I'm trying to get my children involved in more of the fundraising events that I do, because I think, firstly, they're very thoughtful and they like doing things for other people, but also I think it's nice to kind of have them join in with things, have them understand that, you know, these sorts of things are for everyone to join in and do. And I've done fundraising events for as long as I can remember. And for me, yes, the raising of the money is really important, but I think a large part of it is profile raising. It's talking about what the work of the charities is. It's about people becoming aware of the services that they offer. So from talking to charitable organisations, you know, I had Sussex Beacon come in and talk to us on this show a while back, and that was really interesting because I didn't even know that they existed. So it was fantastic to talk to Bill and find out about the services that they provide and to get more up-to-date knowledge about it. So I think it's important that children and young people do understand about fundraising and do understand that charitable organisations rely on people's goodwill to do things. And it isn't just about going and walking the Great Wall of China or climbing up Kilimanjaro or whatever. Sometimes it is going for a 5k walk along the beach in Brighton, and that's just as valid and just as much fun. I did a lovely walk for Terence Higgins Trust at the end of last year through Brighton. The weather was absolutely stunning. I'm very fortunate. I realise I'm very fortunate. When I went to Cornwall in January and the weather was beautiful, went to New York in February and the weather was beautiful. The sun shines on me, I believe. It's I seem to be carrying good fortune with me, which I do not take for granted at all. So thank you for joining me this morning. I hope that you're in a warm, dry place, that you have your feet up, or at the very least that you're comfy. I've got myself a nice big mug of tea. I've also got soothing lip balm with precious argan oil and soothing rose otto, because the one thing that I'd forgotten about New York is it's really windy. And the wind chill, oh my days, it was windy. And I had really chapped lips. Actually, I've had very chapped lips for the last year or so. I think, I don't know why. I've never really experienced that problem in the past, but I've got through a lot of lip salve in the last year. So yes, a lot of soothing lip balm. So I've got lots of soothing lip balm with me and a nice hot cup of tea. So nobody's offering to snog me though, so it doesn't really matter if I've got chapped lips. Nobody's complaining. Morning, Ben. Lovely to know that you're listening. We'll catch up soon, I'm sure. And Ben is going to be taking my boys out for dog walking again next week while I'm here talking to you. The boys enjoyed it last time, so they're going to go and do it again. Hopefully they'll behave, and hopefully it won't be as grotty as it is today. So there you go. Right, I told you that I was going to play you songs that you could sing along to, and this is one of them. Now, this really is, clear your throat and get ready to yell along to this one. When I was at uni, this song came out, and I lived in the middle of a corridor of girls. So basically, the ground floor was boys, the middle floor was mixed, and the upper floor was girls. For safety, I don't know. And this song came out, and there were girls from both sides of the corridor playing this, but they would play it different. It was like a round robin, So I'd hear it almost in stereo, but not quite. And for a long time, I couldn't listen to it. But you know what? I heard this morning and I just went, now that is a tune. So I'm going to be shouting along to this, but I am going to turn the mic down so you don't hear me, because nobody needs to hear the sound of me singing, which is like a cat who's had its tail trapped in a door. So I'm saving you from that indignity. It's fantastic. Alana Miles and Black Velvet.
Mississippi, in the middle of a dry spell. Jimmy Rogers on the Victrola up high. Mama's dancing with baby on her shoulder. The sun is setting like molasses in the sky. The boy could sing knew how to move everything. Always wanting more. He leave you longing for black velvet and that little boy's smile. Black velvet with that slow southern style. A new religion that'll bring you to your knees. Black velvet, if you please. Up in Memphis, the music's like a heat wave. White lightning bound to drive you wild. Mama's baby's in the heart of every schoolgirl. Love me tender, leaves me crying in the house. The way you moved, it was a song, so sweet and true. Always wanting more. He leave you longing for black velvet and that little boy's smile. Black velvet and that slow southern style. A new religion that'll bring you to your knees. Black velvet, if you please. Every word of every song that he sang was for you. In a flash, he was gone. It happened so soon. What could you do? Black velvet and that little boy's smile. Black velvet and that slow southern style. A new religion that'll bring you to your knees. Black velvet, if you please. Black velvet and that little boy's smile. Black velvet and that slow southern style. A new religion that'll bring you to your knees. Black velvet, if you please. If you please. If you please.
I think that's gone on a bit, isn't it? It's kind of gone past the bit where you can sing along to it. Were you singing along? I kind of was. But for some reason, I seem to have got this sore throat back again. The woman sitting next to me on the plane coming back had a face mask on, and she was saying, I don't understand why everyone's not wearing a face mask. And I said, because we're British, we don't overreact. It's flu. Stop being silly. Didn't say that to her, obviously. She was hilarious. She was wiping down all the surfaces. She put the blanket that they put under your seat over her chair and then handed me and the person next to me a wipe so that we could clean down all our surfaces. And I'm an anxious flyer. Okay, full disclosure, I'm a very anxious flyer. I don't enjoy flying. I don't fly very often as a result. The last time I flew was December 2017 when we took the kids skiing. And I managed my anxiety because I was looking after the kids, so I wasn't able to think about myself. This is the first time I've flown on my own in probably 15 years. Actually more than that. And I was a state. When I got on the plane at Heathrow, I was in tears. I was in a real state. We'd been delayed. I'd got more and more anxious the longer we waited. So by the time I got on the plane, I was a mess. And I was apologising, saying, I'm really sorry, I'm being so silly. I'm so sorry, I'm making such a fuss. And they handed me to Tracy. And Tracy was lovely. And she said, would you like a glass of bubbles? So she sat me down. She said, you don't have to go to your seat if you don't want to. You can stay here with me. And she got me a glass of bubbles and it was lovely. And she sat there with me and she calmed me down. And then when I got to my seat, there was someone's boots under the seat and there was some stuff on the chair and they moved everything. And it was a woman travelling with her teenage children and her husband was sitting over the other side of the aisle. 3 seats all to himself, selfish. And she was lovely and she was really nice to me. And the crew kept coming over and checking if I was okay, and that was really nice. And then when I went to get off the plane at the end, Tracy came up and said, I got something for you. And she gave me a beautiful bottle of champagne and said, have that with your friend when you get to New York. So that was so nice. And I have to say, I'm not being sponsored by BA, but they were brilliant. And on the way back, they were even more superb. They were just wonderful. So as somebody who is genuinely an anxious flyer, I don't just say that. I am. I actually went to the bathroom 3 or 4 times during the flight to cry. I was so anxious. And I can't explain it, because I've flown a fair amount in my life and I know it's perfectly safe and I know it's absolutely fine. You don't try and baffle me with logic. I just don't fly very well. And on the way back, lovely Rob took care of me as well. The woman who was cleaning down all the surfaces, he came up and he said to him, once we've taken off, I'm just going to move you somewhere because I found you another seat. And sure enough, he found me another seat that was a bit bigger and had a plug-in point, so I was able to use my laptop. And I just watched movies. I watched The Joker, I watched Judy, I watched Jojo Rabbit. On the way back, I watched Jexy. All the films beginning with J. So I can review all those films for you in the course of this show. And I will. So if you fancy going to a gig tonight, it is Gig of the Month at the Con Club. And I've been talking about this for a while, and it is finally upon us. Mad Professor Live. He might be called Mad Professor, but he's one of the sanest working musicians around. Gaining his name from a childhood fascination with experimenting and electronics, the Professor started his career as a service engineer for mixing desks and amps, before turning his talents to music in the early 80s, when he built a studio at his home in Thornton Heath, down the road from me. In his now long and accomplished career, he's worked with the likes of Johnny Clark, Mikey Dread and Reggae Regular, and has amassed a fine discography. With support from Sir Coxon Outer National Sound, it's going to be one hell of a party. And that's tonight at the Con Club at 7:30. I don't know if tickets are still available, but they are £15. If you fancy something slightly different, Jim and Luke Murray and Band are going to be playing at the Ellie at 8 p.m, and that's £6. And that's Tyneside folk, old and new, guitar, fiddles, concertinas and melodeon. Or you can get down to the Lamb for a free gig at 8, and that's the Manatees, Sweet Onions and Ibex. So that's the last gig of the month, if you fancy that. And I can tell you about what's coming up for the next week or so until I'm next with you. So Sunday is the usual English Dance Tunes sessions at the Volunteer, 12 p.m, and it's free. Bring along your instruments and play folk and English traditional. If you fancy getting down to the Lamb for a free gig at 8 p.m, there's Lottie Pearl and Theo Howard, 2 stars from the Starfish Academy. Monday the 2nd is the usual Jazz at the Snowdrop, which is free from 8 p.m, and you'll be seeing Nigel Price and Terry Seabrook Trio. Tuesday the 3rd is English Dance Tunes session. Again, bring your instruments. That's at the John Harvey Tavern at 8 p.m, and that's free. Friday the 6th is Samaki Afrobeat at the Con Club at 8 p.m, and it's £6, or if you are a member, it is free. If you fancy some country music, you can see TJ Walker at the Lamb at 8 p.m, and that is also free. Next Saturday You can see Femme Brûlée, which is the DJ night at the Lamb, 8 p.m. and free. Mountain Firework Company, a folk and alt country band, will be at the Con Club at 8 p.m. and that's £10. Northern, who are folk and English trad, 4-part vocal harmony, will be at the Ellie from 8 p.m. and that's £10. And Beats Working, which is a DJ set, will be at the Royal Oak from 9 p.m. and that is also free. And taking you to next Sunday, South Coast Cool, jazz band featuring Gabriella Romano on vocals, and that's at the Lamb, and that is 8 p.m. and that is free. I can tell you a little bit more about those when I'm with you next week, but that's enough to see you for the next week, isn't it? There are plenty coming on. And a good friend of the show has also posted something on the Lewes page, which I will go and find so I can tell you about that. And I will, I'll pick up on that and let you know what's going on. It's... yes. I'll get that sorted. Yes, so I told you that I share songs on my page, and I like to share stuff that is fun, that I've kind of had on my mind, stuff that I'm thinking about. And I've shared this artist a few times, not realising that actually her dad is a famous actor. So Ellie King is brilliant. I mean, she's very talented and her voice is cracking. And this is the song I know her best for, but she's done loads of stuff. And the video for this is hilarious as well.
They never wanna leave. Exes and the O's, they haunt me like ghosts. They want me to make them all. They won't let go. Exes and O's. I had a summer lover down in New Orleans, kept him warm in the winter, left him frozen in the spring. My mind. How the seasons go by. I get high and I love to get low, so the hearts keep breaking and the heads just roll. You know, that's how the story goes. 1, 2, 3, they gonna run back to me, 'cause I'm the best baby that they never gotta keep. 1, 2, 3, they gonna run back to me. They always wanna come, but they never wanna leave. Exes and the O's, they haunt me like ghosts. They want me to make them all. They won't let go. My exes and the O's, they haunt me like ghosts. They want me to make them all. They won't let go. Exes and O's. One, two, three, they gonna run back to me. Climbing over mountains and sailing over seas. 1, 2, 3, they gonna run back to me. They always wanna come, but they never wanna leave. My exes and the O's, they haunt me like ghosts. They want me to make them all. They won't let go. Exes and the O's, they haunt me like ghosts. They want me to make them all. They won't let go. Exes and O's.
Ellie King. I think her dad is Rob Schneider. I think that's who her dad is. And her mum, I think, is a singer. But I don't know that she's that well known. I can look them up. I mean, that's what the internet's for, isn't it? I mean, what is the point of having the internet at your fingertips? You can't. Something I was trying to explain to my children. So when we do homework Sunday, which we try and do in the morning, I've given my son a thesaurus and a dictionary so that he can do his spelling homework. And he said, why can't I just look it up on my phone? I said, well, you could, but I want you to work out how to do things the old school way. But actually, even one of his teachers was saying, we're doing maths, which doesn't actually speak to any real world needs that they have. I mean, we're teaching children to tell the time on analogue clocks when nobody uses them anymore. I still think it's important to know that stuff. So Ellie King, her name is Tanner Ellie Schneider. Her dad is Rob Schneider. Her mum is London King. And I think her mum is a singer. Oh no, her mum's a model. Her mum is a former model. And when she was 9, she got a record by the Donners. Donners are a great band. They're a great band, aren't they? If you don't know, the Donners are a great band who have had a cover band called The Donalds, featuring Eddie Argos, who I absolutely love. If you don't know already, I absolutely love him. I don't think I'm seeing Eddie Argos this year. Of the gigs I've got planned, let's go through my diary, shall we? Let's see what we've got coming up. So Stuart Lee, just seen, booked Jason Manford for next year. Not even wasting time. Booked it. Done. Booked. What is it Peter Kay says? Booked it, packed it, thinged off. I can't say that word on radio because it's not that kind of show. Elvis Costello coming up in a couple of weeks. Then not long after that, Nathaniel Rateliff. I'm very excited to see him. Haven't seen him in ages. Dita Von Teese, not a singer, great show. Debbie Harry and Chris Stein, who are going to be doing a book read. They're going to be doing like a conversation. And Jules Holland, who I've seen his show, but I haven't seen him perform. I've seen his kind of Jules Holland, later with Jules Holland being recorded. So he's playing at Fairfield Halls. So I'm going to be going to see him there. That's in May. And then I think I've got a few other bits and pieces. I mean, there's various gigs that I've sort of thought, oh, do I want to go to that? Because there are venues that I don't like. So I don't like Brixton Academy. So even if the band is great, I probably won't pay to go and see them at Brixton Academy. Just looked in my diary, and to be honest, apart from one gig in August, it's looking a bit thin. I've got to be honest, it's looking a bit thin. Crikey. I'm a bit surprised. There's going to be stuff coming up, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to go to the Eden Project. I would like to go and see some of the gigs at Eden Project because they have some great bands on. So I'm going to try and get something for there. It's not the cheapest, but it is a fantastic venue. I've seen a few people there. I've seen Bjork, and I've seen the Manic Street Preachers performing there. And last summer, when I took the boys, we saw Dick and Dom doing their show, and that was just, I can't tell you how funny it was. It was just so much fun. It was brilliant. I'd highly recommend if you can get to go to a gig at the Eden Project. And it's a long way away, but it's... See, I think nothing of it now because I just get used to piling the kids in the car and driving for 6 hours. Obviously, we stop. I mean, I'm not daft. I don't drive for 6 hours without a break. But we do go to Cornwall quite a lot, so I don't think anything of it. And I've done a lot of driving in my life, so I don't mind it that much. Although I am going to I was just talking to my mum this morning about replacing our car, so I've toyed with the idea of getting a second-hand one. But I see, there's the bit of me that says if you buy a brand new car, then you don't have to worry about anything for the first 3 years because it's all covered. If you buy a second-hand car, you save money in the short term, but then you end up spending money on it. So if anyone has any advice or tips, or a car that they're getting rid of, get in touch with me. Twitter, that's not what this show's for. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be using this as a marketplace to try and get people to sell me stuff. But no, if you know of a car that someone's getting rid of that would be good to transport 2 boys and bikes in, that would be great, and it will help me out. I can hear a ringing. Is it me? There's a ringing in my ears. Oh dear, that's not good, is it? Now, I've got a great playlist on my phone for when I go out at lunchtime. I have been keeping fit. As I say, I went running in Central Park. I went running a few times. A few people have commented to me recently, that, rudely, I feel, and they've said, oh, you've lost loads of weight, which suggests that I was massive before. A, I don't think I have, and B, was I massive before? But no, I've been getting back into running and swimming and doing all those things. What I'm trying not to do is overdo it, because I have this tendency to overdo it and get really punish myself if I don't get to exercise. So I'm trying to kind of go, okay, if I feel like exercising, I will, and if I don't, I won't. But one of the things I've been doing is going for a walk. When I'm at work, if I don't have a chance to do anything else, I go for a walk. So I have a playlist called Power Walking. If you've got access to Spotify, you'll probably have access to my playlist, and one of them is Power Walking. And I've got some great tracks on that, including this one.
Girls, we run this mother. Yeah. Girls, we run this mother. Yeah. Girls, we run this mother. Yeah. Girls, we run this mother. Girls, who run the world? 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 Girls, who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run the world? Who run the world? Girls, who run the world? Girls, who run the world? Some of them men think they freak this like we do, but no, they don't. Make your check come at their neck. Disrespect us, no, they won't. Boy, don't even try to touch this. Boy, this beat is crazy. This is how they made me. Houston, Texas, baby. This goes out to all my girls up in the club, rocking the latest. Who would buy it for themselves and get more money later? I think I need a barber. None of these niggas play me. I'm so good with this. I remind you I'm so hood with this. Boy, I'm just playing. Come here, baby. Hope you still like me if you pay me. My persuasion can build a nation. Endless power. Without love, we can devour. You'll do anything for me. Who run the world? Girls. 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 Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run the world? Girls. 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 It's hot up in here, DJ. Don't be scared to run this back. I'm rapping for the girls who are taking over the world. Help me raise a glass for the college grads. 41 rolling to let you know what time it is. Check, you can't hold me. I work my 9 to 5, better cut my check. This goes up to all the women getting it in. You want your grind. To all the men that respect what I do, please accept my shine. Boy, you know you love it. How we smart enough to make these millions, strong enough to bear the children. Then get back to business. Please, you better not play me. Oh, come here, baby. Hope you still like me if you pay me. My persuasion can build a nation. Endless power. Without love, we can devour. You'll do anything for me. Who run the world? Girls. 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 Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run this mother? Who run the world? Girls. Who run the world? Girls. Who run the world? Girls. Who run the world? Who are we? What we run? The world. Who run this mother? Who are we? What we run? The world. Who run this mother? Who are we? What do we run? We run the world. Who run this mother? Who are we? What we run? We run the world. Who run the world? Girls.
I mean, I could only aspire to look like Beyonce. Never in a million years would I look like Beyonce. I'm about a foot too short for a start. But, yeah. I find that quite, when I'm doing my power walking, that's a great one. It's a great playlist I've got there. Now, I have got a lovely little trio of Beatles songs that I want to play you, but I don't think I've got enough time to do it this side of the news break. So what I'm going to do is save it for after the news break, and then I can tell you all about it. So before that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the movies that I saw on the plane, just in case you haven't seen them. I saw Joker, which I know a lot of people have already seen, and now both of the films that I saw were Oscar-winning for the actor in the lead part. So Joker and Judy. I don't know if I've mentioned it on air, but I certainly have mentioned it on social media, how Joaquin Phoenix called out the lack of diversity in the nominations for BAFTAs and Oscars this year, and how powerful, how sad but powerful it was that a white man was standing up there and calling out the lack of diversity with, actors who were non-white being included, or directors or anyone. Joker as a movie, it's incredible. I mean, it's hard. I can't say it's enjoyable, because it really, really isn't enjoyable at all. It's very, very painful to watch. And for someone in the throes of an anxiety attack on a plane, it probably wasn't the best choice. But I kind of sandwiched it between... So I watched Judy, then I watched Joker, then I sandwiched it with Jojo Rabbit. So I put stuff either side of it. But it did occur to me afterwards that watching kind of films where the protagonists were quite sad and depressed probably wasn't the best. But Joker is incredible. He absolutely deserves all the acting accolades he got for that. It's so searing and honest, and you are watching a man in the throes of a mental breakdown. He's not in a great place, and it is really powerful. And I think when the first time people really saw that, I think genuinely, was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, with Jack Nicholson portraying people with mental illness in a mental health unit. And it was hard, it was difficult, it was really painful. Joker is one man's descent into very serious and violent mental illness, which doesn't make it sound great at all. It's one of those films, there are a few films like this where I've watched it once and I never ever want to watch it again. Boys Don't Cry is another one of those films. I've watched it once, never want to watch it again. And the other film, which I absolutely love, but I can't watch it because it is so painful, is $1 Million Baby. Even thinking about it makes me rack with sobs. It's a fantastic film, but it is so hard to watch. So yeah, it's not a great advert for Joker, but I would say do watch it, but be prepared. It's hard work, and it is quite violent. I mean, there are loads more violent films than that, but I was sitting on a plane watching it, very aware that I didn't want any children to be behind me watching what was happening. And then Judy. Wow. Now, I'm not a great fan of Renée Zellweger. And to this day, I don't think she should have been Bridget Jones. I think it should have been Kate Winslet or someone else who's a British actor, but that's just me being biased and probably xenophobic. But she is incredible as Judy. I love Judy Garland. I saw a show with Lisa Maxwell playing Judy Garland. It was on at the Churchill Theatre a few years ago. Judy's story is heartrending and beautiful. And it's a really good film. I mean, it's a moment in time. It's when she was performing in London towards the end of her career, 6 months before she died. And it's really nicely done. She's not doing an impersonation, but what she's doing is a really deft portrayal of Judy Garland. And it is nicely done. And the songs are beautiful. And there are some really nice characters in it, some really nice characterisations in it as well. So you don't even have to be a Judy Garland fan to enjoy it. It's lovely. Really, really recommend it. And I have already reviewed Jojo Rabbit, so you will know what I think of that. Watching it again didn't take away any of the shine from it. Sam Rockwell, incredible. Love Sam Rockwell anyway. He is a great character in this film. The kid who plays Jojo is wonderful. Taika Cohen, who plays Hitler, is hilarious. Now, my friend Carol, who went to see it in the cinema with me, was really unsure. She didn't. I don't feel she enjoyed it. I loved it from the start to end. Riotous. For me, it was riotous. Difficult, but riotous. And watching it again didn't take any of that away. I really enjoyed it the second time round. And Scarlett Johansson, who I struggle with sometimes because I don't always enjoy her performances, she's lovely in it. She's really good. There's a heartbreaking moment, sort of about 2/3 of the way into the film, which I absolutely wasn't prepared for. And it's like a punch to the guts. You're really not expecting it. And it's a film which is full of really dark themes. So when this thing happens, you just go, oh. It's like Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. Again, a movie I can never, ever watch again. I've watched it once. I never, ever want to watch that movie again. I remember being standing in my living room, crying and screaming and going, no, 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 watching Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. I don't want to have that feeling ever again. See, I'm easily moved by movies. So I have to be careful what I go and see and in what state of mind I'm in. So yeah, and then on the way back I watched Jexy, which was all right. I mean, it was okay. It was a filler. It was okay. A movie about a man who has an obsession with his phone, and then the phone becomes obsessed with him. It's quite silly, really, quite funny. But the best thing was I was watching Fleabag series 2. I love Fleabag. I think it's a great show. And I was watching it as we were coming into land at JFK. And as I say, anxious flyer. I didn't even notice that we'd landed because I was so engrossed in watching Fleabag. So if, like me, you are a nervous flyer, I suggest finding a TV programme that really takes all your attention, putting your headphones on and just switching into that. You won't even notice that you've landed. Honestly, that's how it worked. It really did. I can't say better than that. It was brilliant. So I'm going to play you one more track as we go into the news, and then as we come out the other side, as I say, you're going to get this lovely little triple of Beatles tracks because I think you deserve them. And what else do you want on a rainy, wet, cold Saturday afternoon? You want amazing Beatles tracks sung by beautiful artists covering them, don't you? Before that, you want the fantastic and beautiful En Vogue singing Free Your Mind.
Prejudice. Wrote a song about it? Like to hear it? Here it go. Free your mind.
No, no.
Here's your news. In weather, in Lewes, it's 5 degrees Celsius with cloudy skies. Today, you can expect rainy weather, with a high of 8 degrees and a low of 5 degrees. From BBC Sports News.
BBC Sport.
Norwich City's Premier League survival hopes have been given a huge boost thanks to a 1-0 win at home to third-place Leicester. Jamal Lewis's superb second-half strike, enough to give the bottom-of-the-table side a crucial 3 points to move them 4 from safety. Here's their manager, Daniel Farker.
I think in the end a well-deserved win and clean sheet win as well. So many compliments today for my lads, because it was also not easy after we were not so much on the top of our game, and then to keep the confidence and the belief high. But I think it was an unbelievable committed and performance also.
Leicester had a goal disallowed for handball. They've won at just 1 in their last 6 league games. FIFA President Gianni Infantino has not ruled out next month's international fixtures being postponed as the spread of coronavirus continues. England and Wales have friendly matches, while Scotland, Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland play Euro 2020 qualifiers. Infantino says that people's health is much more important than any game. Leeds United goalkeeper Kiko Casilla has been banned for 8 matches and fined £60,000 after being found guilty of racially abusing Charlton Athletic forward Jonathan Lecco. Casilla, who denied the charge, has also been ordered to attend a face-to-face education session. BBC Radio lead Adam Pope feels that United will stand by their player.
They have consistently said themselves throughout that he has strenuously denied this charge. The tone of their statement, if you like, is very supportive. So at this stage, I would be surprised if that was to lead to him having his contract terminated.
Hibernian are through to the semi-finals of the Scottish Cup after they thrashed Inverness 5-2 at Easter Road. Midfielder Scott Allen was on the score sheet. He's not getting too carried away, although he wasn't quite sure how far they actually are in the competition.
We just take each round as it comes, so look ahead to the semi-final now. Semi-final, quarter-final? Semi-final? Semi-final now, and just take it from there.
Laura Kenny overcame a crash and stitches in a head wound in the scratch race to go on to finish 12th in the Omnium. That was at the Track Cycling World Championships in Berlin. Kenny insisted on carrying on as she continues her preparations for this summer's Olympics, having already broken her shoulder in a race last month.
I came to race, and I'm glad I did carry on, because I need to do the races at this level, and it was the last time I'll get to do that before the Olympics. So I thought, you know what, it doesn't matter that I haven't got a medal. I need to just get back in the bike race. Otherwise, in 6 months' time, I'm going to be nervous again. I'm going to be thinking, I don't know how to deal with this. I'm just going to be really scared.
In rugby union, Sale Sharks bolstered their Premiership top 4 bid by winning 23-17 at Gloucester. In the Pro 14, Edinburgh beat Cardiff Blues 14-6 to extend their lead at the top of Conference B, whilst in Conference A, Leinster thrashed Glasgow 55-19. In Super League, Leeds Rhinos ran in 6 tries as they beat Warrington 36-0 at Headingley. Here's the Rhinos head coach Richard Agar.
We set off with a terrific intent with the ball. I thought we played a really good brand of football, actually. Prepared to chance his arm and offload. And then when we had to play a little bit tighter and play through him a little bit, I thought we got a really good feel for that throughout the contest.
And England's cricketers are 1 win away from reaching the semi-finals of the Women's T20 World Cup. They beat Pakistan by 42 runs. They face West Indies on Sunday.
BBC Sport.
From BBC News.
This is BBC News. The Permanent Secretary to the Home Office, Sir Philip Rutnam, has resigned, claiming there's been an orchestrated campaign against him. He says he intends to sue the government for constructive dismissal.
In the last 10 days, I have been the target of a vicious and orchestrated briefing campaign. It has been alleged that I have briefed the media against the Home Secretary. This, along with many other claims, is completely false. The Home Secretary categorically denied any involvement in this campaign to the Cabinet Office. I regret I do not believe her.
Laura Koonsberg is our political editor.
I just would urge how much this is deeply unusual for someone in his kind of position, the Sir Humphreys, if you like, the people who are normally behind closed doors working away on behalf of the government, to feel that they had no choice but to speak out like this is something very unusual and gives us a real flavour of something that had gone very badly wrong in that particular government department.
And you can hear Sir Philip's statement in full on our interactive bulletin. Just ask your device to Give Me BBC News. Health officials are trying to work out how a man from Surrey who hadn't been abroad recently caught the coronavirus. 19 others who've tested positive in the UK are all thought to have become infected while outside the country. The government is expected to push through emergency legislation next week if the virus spreads. That could include things like raising school class sizes in the event of a shortage of teachers. Here's the Health Minister, Edward Arger.
Recently, we did take particular powers to give the police the power to return someone to quarantine when there was a medical reason they should be in it if they'd left that. What we're doing here is considering what other contingencies we need.
Meanwhile, Japan has cancelled the April cherry blossom festivals in Tokyo and Osaka, which normally attract millions of tourists. Several female actors walked out of France's César Film Awards ceremony in Paris last night after Roman Polanski won Best Director. The Polish-French filmmaker was convicted of the statutory rape of a 13-year-old in the 70s. He fled to the US shortly after. Women's rights activists gathered outside the venue ahead of the awards after Polanski's An Officer and a Spy received 12 nominations. Polanski and members of his crew didn't attend the event. And researchers at the University of Anglia say taking omega-3 supplements generally has no significant impact on a person's health. Marketing for fish oil capsules often claims they can help lower the risk of dementia, cancer or having a stroke. But the new research says they offer little to no benefits. Experts still suggest that eating fish in a meal is good for the heart, though, as well as general health. That's the latest from BBC News.
Sleeping while my guitar gently weeps. I look at the floor and I see it needs sweeping. Still my guitar gently weeps. I don't know told you how to unfold your love. I don't know how someone controlled you. They bought and sold you. I look at the it's turning while my guitar gently weeps. With every mistake we must surely be learning. Still my guitar gently weeps. Still my guitar gently weeps.
Won't you come out to play? Dear Prudence, meet the brand new day. The sun is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, so you do. Won't you come out to play? Dear Prudence, open up your eyes. Dear Prudence, see the sunny sky. The wind is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, so you Prudence. Won't you open up your eyes? Look around, round, 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 round. Look around, round, 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 round. Look around. Dear Prudence, let me see you smile. Dear Prudence, like a little child. The wind is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, so you dear Prudence. Won't you come out to
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting this moment to rise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly into the light of a dark black night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life you were only waiting for this moment to rise. You were only waiting for this moment to rise. You were only waiting for this moment to rise.
I shouldn't really talk over it, which is why I didn't. Isn't that beautiful? Wasn't that the most beautiful little trio of songs? So you heard Regina Spektor with While My Guitar Gently Weeps, which is, I think, taken from a manga cartoon, actually. World Party singing Dear Prudence, and Sarah McLachlan, who has the most beautiful voice singing Dear Prudence. Blackbird. She was singing Blackbird. So Blackbird and Dear Prudence are two of my favourites. Here Comes the Sun is my actual favourite. They're just beautiful versions of it. My favourite version of While My Guitar Gently Weeps is the one in which Prince just shows off. It was one of those tribute shows where they just had all the greatest guitarists in the world, and Prince just comes out, does his thing, falls into the crowd and just walks off stage, and everyone is just left in his wake looking baffled at what's just happened. It's beautiful. It's a lovely bit of work. My son has just told me he sent me a photograph of his new haircut, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know what's going on there. He's also, now this is something that apparently the kids are doing, I don't know. So all the icons on your phone, so where you've got all the little apps on your phone, he has organised all of his into colours. So I used to have mine sorted by social media, photography, transport, food apps, shopping, whatever. It was by function. He's encouraged me to put them all in order of colours, and do you know what? It looks great. It looks really neat. It does mean I have to think about where they are. So it does require a bit more cognitive involvement, but actually that's no bad thing. I think if I'm having to kind of use my brain a bit more to access these, that's not a bad thing. I'm trying to stave off the slow descent into forgetfulness. I do get really bad in terms of forgetting stuff. My losing my keys is on a daily basis is something that my kids find absolutely hilarious. Me, not so much. I think they're a bit mean to me about that, but they're allowed to be, they're my kids. So they do laugh at me and go, "Mummy, why don't you have a thing where you can whistle and it finds your keys for you?" I said, well, if only I was that organised, wouldn't that be good? But obviously Mummy's not that organised. Now, I told you there was an event going on. A friend of the show, Jason Lochran, I'm so sorry, I can't remember. We did talk about how to pronounce your name. But Jason is hosting a open mic night at the Six Bells on Tuesday, and it's at 8 o'clock. And it's at the Six Bells pub in Chiddingly. So you can get down there. Open invite to all musicians and other performers with an emphasis on duets. So if you can get together with a kindred spirit and perform to a friendly, appreciative audience, then we want to hear you at the Six Bells. But of course, solo slots and bigger band performances will be most welcome too. All styles welcome. Whatever you do, we want to hear you. So that sounds great. And this is at the Six Bells Folk and Blues Club. And you can get on down there on Tuesday. And Jason is obviously a friend of the show. He's been in and seen us before. You can get to the Six Bells and they do food and all sorts of stuff in there as well. So you can get down there and do your bit, you know, bit of spoken word, bit of singing. Like I said, I sound like a cat being strangled, so that's not something I'm about to do anytime soon. A few more things you might want to know about. The lovely Repair Cafe comes back to Lewes later this month. So on the 21st, which is a Saturday, the Repair Cafe will be at Lamport Community Hub. You can take along damaged clothes, broken electrical appliances, bicycles, china, jewellery and more. Tea, coffee and cake will be available. It's 2 till 5, no charges made, but donations are most welcome. And you can go to lewisrepaircafe.org.uk to find out more about that. Also, the Death Cafe, which is going to be at the Dorset on Tuesday the 24th. Hosted conversations about death and dying that ease fears and challenge taboos. And that is from 12:30 till 2:30 and it's free. We've talked about the death cafes a lot here, especially when I've had conversations with Ben, because planning for your own death, I think, is an important thing to think about. You don't know when you're going to go. Hopefully you won't go for a long time. Hopefully you have a good long life, but it's a good idea to have some idea of what you would like to happen after your death, and this is a way to kind of have those conversations in a safe space with people who can help you with whatever you're thinking about, you know, whether it's about making arrangements or, you know, writing a will or something like that. Saturday the 21st and Sunday the 22nd of March is the Lewes Speakers Festival. A host of speakers over the weekend, including Steve Richards, presenter of The Week in Westminster, Tom Watson, former Deputy Leader of the Labour Party, Jack Straw, Polly Toynbee and many more. It's at the All Saints, and you can find out more if you go to speakersfestivals.com. If you fancy a bit of laughter, you can go to see Jeeves and Wooster in Perfect Nonsense, based on the 1938 novel The Code of the Woosters. This is at Lewes Little Theatre, written by David and Robert Goodall, and it's at lewestheatre.org. You can find out times and prices. The Railway Land Wildlife Trust is having a celebration of the opening of the Signal Box as a repurposed wildlife hide, and that's on Sunday the 22nd, and it as part of the Egrets Way that runs into the Railway Land. Activities, info stands and refreshments are at the Linklater Pavilion and Railway Land, 2 till 5 p.m. It's free, as say Sunday the 22nd of March. And you can go to Lewes Community Fire Station on Saturday the 28th, try out some of the activities the firefighters do on a regular basis and chat to the crews. That's from 11 till 2. I've taken my kids to the local fire station many times and it's a lovely thing for them to do. And one of the things that the fire officers have said to me, certainly in the Croydon area, is that from doing talks with children, young people, going into schools, it has reduced the instances of arson that have occurred, because the children and the young people have a much better appreciation for how dangerous fire is, and how important it is to keep places safe, and how not to start a fire. There's quite a lot of woods. People don't realise this. There's a lot of actually green spaces around Croydon, and there's a place not far from where I used to live called Crome Woods, and often you would get groups of kids going in there and building fires and leaving them, and it causes a great risk, not just to the woodlands but the homes that are nearby as well. So it's a really good community service that the fire station do. And obviously if you get to hang out with a fireman for a couple of hours, you know, that's no bad thing. That's a personal thing to me, though, I'm sure. If you fancy going to the film quiz on Tuesday the 31st of March, test your film knowledge against the Depot staff. Ooh, tough one. Hosted by Quizmaster Jake Harvey. This is at Depot Gallery, 7:30, and it is £4. I think I would do quite well at a movie quiz, but probably not as well as I used to. I used to go and see films a lot. I don't go nearly as much as I used to, so my knowledge is probably a bit old now. And then towards the end of the month, 31st of March to the 4th of April, you can go and see Sweeney Todd. The Demon Barber of Fleet Street comes to Lewes in the latest LOS musical theatre production at the Lewes Town Hall, and you can go to losmusicaltheatre.org.uk for times and prices. And that's all the stuff that's coming up that you might enjoy. I'll find out about more things that are going on for you, and let you know. We've got all sorts of, you know, it's now the kind of run up until Easter, isn't it? So we've got the long run until we get to the Easter break, and my kids have got World Book Day next week, which the school never used to do, and one of my sons is doing Shakespeare, and I said, great, how am I going to dress you for that? But then he said, I want to go as Romeo. I said, well, in one of the depictions of Romeo, he's dressed as a knight. I've taken it from the Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo from the movie. I haven't told him that. And my other son kept insisting that the book they were doing was Rumble in the Jungle. I said, I think you mean Jungle Book. And he went, no, Mum, it's Rumble in the Jungle. So I said, well, am I supposed to send you in dressed as Muhammad Ali? Turns out the book is called Rumble in the Jungle. I was completely wrong. I do apologise, little man. But he is going dressed as a monkey, which is not a far stretch from his personality, I'll be honest. So I promised you some great songs that you can sing along to. This is one where I'm going to be jigging around the studio. I might just go and refresh my cup of tea as well, though, because it's gone a bit cold. So I'm going to get a cup of tea while I sing along to Taylor Swift. I think you'll love it. I love this. Why would you not love it?
Shake. Yeah. 'Cause the players gonna play. And the haters gonna hate. I'm just gonna shake. Shake it off. Heartbreakers gonna break. And the makers gonna fake. I'm just gonna shake. Shake it off. Shake it off. Now that you're out of my life, I'm so much better. You thought that You thought I couldn't last without you, but I'm lasting. You thought that I would die without you, but I'm living. Thought that I would fail without you, but I'm on top. Thought it would be over by now, but it won't stop. Thought that I would self-destruct, but I'm still here. Even in my years to come, I'm still gonna be here. I'm a survivor. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna work harder. I'm gonna make it. I'm a survivor. Keep on surviving. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna make it. I will survive. Wishing you the best. Pray that you are blessed. Much success, no stress, and lots of happiness. I'm better than that. I'm not gonna blast you on the radio. I'm better than that. I'm not gonna lie to you and your family. I'm better than that. I'm not gonna hate on you in the magazine. I'm better than that. I'm not gonna compromise my Christianity. I'm better than that. You know I'm not gonna dish you on the internet. Cause my mama taught me better than that. I'm a survivor. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna work harder. I'm a survivor. I'm gonna make it. I'm a survivor. Keep on surviving. I'm a survivor. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna work harder. I'm a survivor. Yeah, make it. I will survive. Keep on After all of the darkness and sadness, soon comes happiness. If I surround myself with positive things, I'll gain prosperity. I'm a survivor. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna work harder. I'm a survivor. I'm gonna make it. I will survive and keep on surviving. I'm a survivor. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna I'm a survivor. I'm gonna make it. I will survive. Keep on surviving. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna work harder. I'm a survivor. I'm gonna make it. I will survive. Keep on surviving. I'm a survivor. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna work harder. I'm a survivor. I'm gonna make it. I will survive. Keep on surviving.
Fantastic, Destiny's Child and Survivor. And before that, you heard Taylor Swift and Shake It Off. So there you go, bit of a funky little group of songs there for you. Okay, I've had photographs of both my sons with their new haircuts, and they look very handsome. I know I'm biased, obviously, but they do look very handsome. So let me tell you about what's happening in the classical side of things for this month. So tomorrow you can see the Brighton Philharmonic Orchestra at the Brighton Dome. Stephen Warby and Kevin Farrell return to the Dome with Rhapsody, a concert featuring their own astonishing arrangements of classics, including Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf and Adinsol's Warsaw Concerto, Virtuosity and Hijinks. Tickets are from $14.50 to $42.50, and there's a 50% students or under 18 discount. On the same day, which is tomorrow, you can go to St Michael's First Sunday Recitals at St Michael's Church. It's free with a retiring collection. The new season gets going with a recital by resident organist Nick Houghton, and you can find out more about that at stmichaelinlewes.org.uk. Next Saturday is Musicians of All Saints. Programme includes first performances of works by Phil Baker and Peter Crompton, directed by Andrew Sherwood. Again at St Michael's Church, £12 for the regular fee, £9 for concessions. Under 18s are free. You can find out more at mas-lewis.co.uk. That's Musicians of All Saints. Sunday the 8th at 3 p.m. is Seaford Music Society. Melvin Tan and Maggie Cole, two of the UK's foremost forte pianists, playing together. Four hands at one piano. Works by Mozart, Schubert and Debussy. And this is at St Leonard's Church, Seaford. £15 under 26s are free, and you can find out more at seafordmusicsociety.com. Sunday the 15th and the 29th of March at 4 p.m. is the Corelli Ensemble. Virtuoso Piers Adams joins the Corelli Ensemble to play the San Martini Recorder Concerto in F and Ward Celtic Concerto, also featuring music by Telemann and Elgar. This is at St Pancras Church on the 15th and Seaford Baptist Church on the 29th. £12 is the price in advance, and it's £14 on the door. Children go free, and you can find out more at corelliensemble.co.uk. Friday the 20th at 7:45 is the Nicholas Young Society. The acclaimed trio Conbrio Copenhagen returns to Lewes to play Bent Sorensen's Phantasmagoria and works by Beethoven and Shostakovich. This is at the Cliff Building of East Sussex College on Mountfield Road. £16 or free for 8 to 25-year-olds. Tickets are available from Baldwin's Travel or on the door or at nyslewis.org.uk. Saturday the 21st at 7:30 is the East Sussex Community Choir. East Sussex Bark Choir and guests, Lewes 2 big choirs plus guests from Brighton Orpheus Choir and full orchestra present Elgar's mighty and moving Dream of Gerontius with Paul Austin Kelly as, is it Gerontius or Gerontius? I never know. Conducted by Nick Horton. And St Bartholomew's Church in Brighton, it's £10, £15 and £20 from the website, or you can get tickets on the door. Go to eastsussexcommunitychoir.org to find out more about that. And finally, Saturday the 21st at 7:30pm is a piano recital by award-winning international concert pianist Iyad Sugaya. Performs works by Mozart, Liszt, Chopin and Khachaturian at St Andrew's Church, Alfriston. £12 in advance, including a donation to the Church Restoration Fund. And on Sunday the 22nd at 11am, it's a coffee concert. Final gig of the coffee concert series featuring BBC New Generation artists, the Ronovitz Ensemble, playing Schubert, Beethoven and Elgar. This at the Attenborough Centre for the Creative Arts. £18.50, concessions £16. You can find out more at the attenboroughcentre.com. And that's the classical roundup. Also, bearing in mind that Sunday the 29th of March at 2:45 is the Brighton Philharmonic Orchestra at the Brighton Dome. Tickets are £14.50 to £42.50 with the usual discounts applying to students and under 18s. Barry Wordsworth is your conductor. Cello by Thomas Carroll. Valsa Fantasie Glinka, Cello Concerto Elgar, and Suite No. 3 Tchaikovsky is what they will be performing. So you can get tickets for all those things if you want to for this month. There's a lot of music going on. March is Music Month, isn't it? Musical March, I think is what we're going to be saying. Because Easter is in April this year, isn't it? Easter, the movable feast, quite literally, as you find out every year. And I will tell you about various other things that are happening if I find out about them. So it all sounds very good. We did a few things over half term, but not nearly as many as we were expecting. We did come to Brighton last Sunday and do the science fair. I can tell you a little bit more about that after I play some more songs. It wouldn't be a Saturday Live with me if I didn't play you some Prince. And there are so many Prince songs that I love, but this is still by far my favourite, and it's a bit of a cliche because it's lots of people's favourite, but that's because it's just lovely.
She knew how to get a kiss.